on very old infrastructure, which have seen some counties lose as much as 70% in terms of non-revenue water. Mr. Speaker, sir, to be able to address this, we must come up with a comprehensive solution, which means that because some of the water infrastructure goes close counties, we need to have water development agencies, which as envisaged in the Act of 2016, so that the issues of those water bodies that are closing counties can be addressed. It is also not lost to us, Mr. Speaker, sir, that development of water infrastructure is quite a costly affair. Some of the mega dams that are proposed by the KK government cannot be realized within our budgetary allocation. Looking at the balance sheet of this country, Mr. Speaker, it is important that we come with options that will make this realizable. And that one is one of the ways to make water a tradable commodity, as electricity is, as roads are. Mr. Speaker, sir, having said that, it is also important to note that water being a devolved function, we need to reinforce the operationalization of the Act of 2016 by empowering the water service providers. This cannot be done, Mr. Speaker, sir, with the kind of small budgetary allocation that they get. Therefore, it is important for us to change the way the approach we've been using. We must be deliberate on having a paradigm shift in the way that we approach the financing of this infrastructure. Left to the counties, Mr. Speaker, some counties will never be able to provide their citizens with water because the budgetary allocation and the infrastructure, and some of them even the technology required, is not available at that level. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, it is important that we come up with a law that will ensure that the national government is able to provide the bulk water, and this can then be transferred now to the service providers, who can then be able to liquidate it for consumption. The same applies for irrigation, Mr. Speaker. We know, like the High Grand Falls Dam that's proposed in the Rakanithi County, costing about 500 billion. There is no way that county, which receives just a couple of billions, will be able to ever realize that. But looking at the benefits, the long-term benefits, looking at water as a tradable commodity, looking at the benefits of such a dams, it is important that we put a legal framework in place that will encourage investors to come in the country, or even local business people to team up and be able to put up mega dams that will have several advantages. We know, taking for example like the High Grand Falls, it will be producing about 1,000 megawatts. That alone, Mr. Speaker, sir, would be enough revenue to pay for the cost of the construction of the dam, not to mention about thousands of acres that will be brought under irrigation. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, as much as we in the Senate are here to protect devolution, promote devolution, and see devolution work, we must also be pragmatic enough to realize that some of the functions that are supposed to be devolved cannot be achieved with the kind of small budgets that are allocated. And we also must be alive to the fact that some of the functions, especially in the water development in infrastructure, we have close-cutting issues that lies in multiple counties. The mega dams, like now the one, the High Grand Falls, will serve several counties. Therefore, putting a legal framework in place that will be able to govern the construction and later the repayment of the cost of the dam needs to be anchored in a law. This, Mr. Speaker, sir, can only be done if we amend the Act as it currently constituted to introduce other factors. However, we must also hold at the back of our mind that the function of water being devolved, that the role of the county government is well enhanced, well anchored, while also ensuring that the county governments will leap from the tradable water commodity. Mr. Speaker, sir, I support with amendments.
Thank you. Next is Senator Olekina Ledama. The minority whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is it going on? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make some comments, which I hope will lead me towards drafting some amendments to this bill, which in my view has been crafted to be able to commercialize a commodity that is given to us by God for free. Mr. Speaker, I